Japanese FanFest in January, but at this point in time, we all know it's going to be Green Mage.
Well, I guess I was wrong.
Hello, hola, welcome, and a Happy New Year to all of you. Last night, the Japanese FanFest for Final Fantasy XIV took place, so let's talk about it. As always, the FanFest opened with the full version of the trailer for Dawntrail. Right off the bat, the music was a little different, but it wasn't until Alice showed up that things started to change. We get this ground-level shot of Alice walking towards a fisherman as he's about to cut this big fish, and we get this really cool transition into the leader of the Mamulja attacking the Warrior of Light. A cut to Ishtola, and then there's new music as the Nutkin appears once more. The Nutkin leaves looking for Thancred, making him drop his map, and that's the reason why Urianger is laughing. And then we transition into a new section of the trailer, a sky view of the city, right to where Grahatia is eating his taco. He seems to enjoy it a lot, and this is the most surprising part of the trailer for me. And if you don't believe me, just watch my reaction to this. Ay, está caray. ¿Qué? Trial finally gets her moment in the trailer, and she's sporting the new job, which wasn't Green Mage, but ended up being Pictomancer. Pictomancer is a kind of obscure job from Final Fantasy VI. There was a character there called Realm, who used a brush to paint her enemies and duplicate their attacks. Kind of like a blue mage, but you just did the attacks of the enemies in front of you. It was a nice job. Realm was a fun character, and now it's a job in Final Fantasy XIV, so it's a welcome addition. I just continue to wonder, why did they tease us with a clover, which was a symbol of the Green Mage? Okay, they fooled us all, they played us all like a damn fiddle. So, that's it. Backtracking a bit. And it's important to mention that at this point, the song changes completely. The Primals are joined by the female voice, none other than Crystal Mommy herself, Amanda Aiken. The vibe in this part of the song is very different, and as someone who's not that much into rock, I find this new section lovely and I want to hear more of it. Back to the ship, and we finally see Alphino, who hasn't really changed much. And we get our first look at the female Hrothgar. The trailer continues, Dawntrail logo, summer 2024. Yoshi P talks about the time he had to do a surprise 2-week delay for Endwalker. He doesn't want that to happen for Dawntrail, thus they are not going to give a specific release date until they are ready to commit to one. Now, once the keynote begins proper, the first thing they show is a trailer for the Pictomancer job. Of note, the headpiece of the job is the same hat that Realm wore in Final Fantasy VI. I cannot help but wonder if Yera will be able to use it. But the set looks nice. The combat part of the trailer shows the Pictomancer attacking with paintings. They can also paint landscapes, which I would assume generate the buffs that Yoshi P talked about. Otherwise, when it comes to offensive spells, the Pictomancer can paint thunder or paint the blizzard, or in one specific case, it paints and creates a Moogle that shoots a laser. Okay, it looks fun at least. Then more Pictomancer information, magical range DPS, we know that. The weapon is a brush, it requires no previous job or class, it begins at level 80, and it does so in Gridania. So, if you wanna play Dawntrail as a Pictomancer, you go there, unlock the class, and you have to level it from level 80 to 90 before you can begin the expansion. They then touched briefly on the story of the expansion. We go to Tuliolal to settle a succession dispute, which will somehow split the Scions in different sides. Beginning of all this will be in the second part of patch 6.5, which launches on January 16th. That's a bit over a week from now. We got some clips of areas, both old and new, including this Wild West-like town. which was seen previously only in screenshots. Or these areas that likely belong to the new Vana'diel-like tribe, the Hanu. And this looks like a house belonging to one of the new tribes, the Moblins. Or this forest. I don't remember them showing this before. I don't know which area this belongs to, but it looks really nice. All of this was nothing compared to what was about to be revealed. What the hell? This area is nothing like anything we have seen in Dawntrail so far. It's called Solution 9, and it's described as a city of towering facades constructed by an entirely different civilization than that of Tuliolal. No kidding, it's completely different. It's futuristic. It reminds me a bit of Night City from Cyberpunk. There's a few interesting things about this place. First, the name. Solution 9? What were solutions 1 to 8? And a solution to what? This is going to be one of the main cities in Dawntrail, and it has stores, it has ads on the walls, and most curiously, the text is written in Eorzean. So, what is this place? Because this would have been an Omorot level of surprise if it had been revealed through the MSQ. If they feel confident enough to reveal this now, what else is in store for us? An adjacent area is called Heritage Found, and we see concept art of a train and these old west houses next to a big pillar where I can only guess the city is on top. Bit of Final Fantasy VII vibes. This reminds me of one of the art pieces from the last FanFest, in which you could see this Wild West town and the train, and there was this big section of the art that was just, redacted. This is what was likely hiding behind that. They briefly mentioned the new ally tribes. We already knew about the Pelupelu, the Moblins, and the Mamulja, but now they revealed the Hanu, which are essentially different colored Vanus, and the Jokhuis, which look very different, and we still don't know much about them. And then we do a flyby through new dungeons.
What a thrill.
In the new threats section, they mentioned bosses we already know about, like Valigarmanda and the Eliminator. But they also mentioned this chunky boy called the Barrel Tender. And it's sure to be a very fun fight. I was under the impression that Valigarmanda and Eliminator were trials, so what is Barrel Tender? Is he a dungeon boss or a trial? Maybe even a raid boss? We don't know. They showed some of the AFs coming in Dawntrail. They showed Summoner, Samurai, Sage, and Gunbreaker. The new materials are very noticeable in the leather in the Gunbreaker armor and in the metal plates in the Sage armor. They follow with Machinis, Reaper, Astrologian, and Paladin. They briefly touched on lifestyle content, apparently for crafters and gatherers, and they said that this would have us visit planets. The image seems to show the moon, and what other planets could we go to? In any case, the name of this content is Cosmic Exploration. For the 24-man alliance, Echoes of Vana'diel, they didn't show much, only a concept art of someone called the Shadow Lord. I didn't play 11, so I have no idea what this means or represents, but I'm sure that 11 players are delighted to see this inclusion. Speaking of things I don't know what they're going to be about, the 8-man raid, it's going to be called the Arcadion. It's a curious name, and with the image, you cannot help but thinking modern gaming computers and GPUs and fans and all that. One particular part of the image that people have focused on is this symbol. Some say it represents an Asian, but I'm not so sure. I'm more inclined to believe that this somehow represents the Warrior of Light, the classical Warrior of Light, with the helmet and the curved horns. Briefly touched on the new Ultimate Raid, Futures Rewritten. It's gonna take inspiration from Eden and will feature fan-favorite characters Rin and Gaia. Yoshi did say that they're working on a new field operations content, essentially something akin to Eureka or Bosnia, but no further information given. On the bright side, we know it's coming, and it's sure to satisfy a lot of people that have complained that Endwalker had no field operations. And considering this content tends to be very long and very grindy, I guess that's what some people want. So, we're getting that. They confirmed the new limited job. It was either Puppet Master or Beastmaster, and the latter one. So we're getting a Beastmaster job. There's not much information at the moment. It's sure to come later in the 7.0 series, so for now, just the name. Near the end, they talked once more about the graphical updates coming in Dawntrail, this time with a side-by-side comparison of all the races and how their current models look and their new models will look. They talked about a lot of minor technical details, so this section took a bit too long to my liking, but the general idea is that you can see better shadows, better shapes, and improved eyes, nose, mouths, ears, and textures in the characters. They look good. But in the end, we're just gonna have to wait until Dawntrail releases so we can see our own characters and how they have been affected by this. The team, however, is aware that there might be minor changes to your character, and they're planning on gifting everyone a vial of Fantasia so you can make minor or major changes once the expansion launches, if you don't feel comfortable with your new character. All these new improvements are great, but a special mention goes to dark skin. The new shaders, I guess, or texture for dark skin looks amazing, and if your character has that tone of skin, it's going to look 100 times better, in my humble opinion. As we approach the end, they showed the two-channel dye system and how it can now dye different parts of gear. There are still limitations in which parts you can or cannot dye, especially if the piece of gear has multiple colored sections, but it should be an improvement over what we have right now. They also reminded us that the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV now has an expanded free trial, which includes the base game A Realm Reborn, the award-winning Heavensworn expansion, and the Stormblood expansion, and you can play up to level 70 for free with no restrictions of playtime. The Xbox Open Beta begins late February. Meanwhile, the Final Fantasy XVI collaboration has been confirmed for early April. Pretending he forgot, Yoshi revealed the in-game trailer for the female Hrothgar. I had read some comments on social media hoping that Hrothgars would be buff, not tiny like the Aura females, so I guess those people are happy now because they do look imposing, they look menacing. They look really nice, to be honest. Not enough for me to change from Viera, but nice nonetheless. To close it all, they revealed the Dawntrail key art. It displays a few surprises. There's a woman right at the top. I don't think she has been revealed yet. There's also a white-haired Mikote to the right. To the left, we see Kryl with her brush, finally in her deserved spot in the key art, and finally the Hrothgar that we'll meet in 6.5 Part 2 very, very soon. And that was pretty much the keynote. A lot of information. It's a shame that we still do not have a release date or a pre-order release date for those of us who know that we're going to play Dawntrail. But we had a lot of good information. They said that a lot of new information would be coming in future live letters as we approach the release date somewhere in summer. So that's all that we have for now. Now is the awkward part in every YouTube video where I ask you, what did you think of the FanFest? Did you get what you wanted? Something you were hoping for that was revealed or was not revealed? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, I feel so weird saying that. But that's it for me. I personally cannot wait for Dawntrail to come. I'm looking forward to more and more adventures in the world of Final Fantasy XIV. And I hope you are too. Until then, thanks for watching, and again, I hope you have a wonderful 2024.